Hi class, welcome to Module 4. So, as we mentioned in the last video, and as I'm sure you read in the chapter, the last chapter had an underlying message of the increase in speed. It was something that I certainly pointed out. In the current module, going from 1875 to 1915, the speed of the world continues. This time era, just like the last one, is, a partially arbitrary demarcation of time. The same tech advances that I mentioned previously are coming more to the foreground, and not just as scientific discoveries and oddities. They're becoming practical devices used widely, and at the age, it was transforming the age. This theatrically is largely known as the era of the rise of the realists and the naturalists. Based on the words alone, you might think that the theater each prescribed was, in the case of the former, the realists. Every aspect of the stage had to be absolutely realistic, so much so that the conventions of time must be followed stringently, meaning if the play was 90 minutes long for the audience, then the action on stage must take place within 90 minutes. Or for the naturalists, everything on stage must seem natural, but not necessarily be natural. When in actuality, the reverse is true. The realists wanted everything to be or feel real. So the characters, the situations, the realists wanted these things to elicit feelings in the audience where they were like, I know these people, I know these situations, this is real. But the regular conventions of theatrical time and jumping from one scene to another, having different sets, those things were allowed to continue. The naturalists, however, wanted absolute realism. They wanted the conventions of time followed. There's even a story of one naturalist having a scene take place in a butcher shop where actual meat was on the stage. This type of thing was actually the naturalists. Two of the most prominent writers of the realist movement were Ibsen and Strindberg. You've probably run into them in your other theater courses. So controversial was the early realist work and how it portrayed marriage, the plight of women, the plight of the worker, the class society, that if audience members saw it, it was taboo to discuss it in private or even public, polite conversation. There are even dinner invitations you can find from the era that have written on the bottom, "A doll's house will not be discussed," which is, I think, quite indicative of the whole thing. Add to that those two names, two of the giants of theater as we know it, Chekhov and Stanislavski. Those four names together, Ibsen, Strindberg, Chekhov, and Stanislavski, changed the face of theater as you are currently studying it. No area of theater or film has been untouched by their influence. All of modern acting in the Western world, all of it, flows from Stanislavski's method. It's been altered, expanded upon. Different rivers and tributaries flow from the main river of Stanislavski's method, but it's all there coming from him. Now, it is also true of this period that, like physics, any force will create an equal and opposite force in the other direction. Realism created the anti-realists. These included the symbolists, the expressionists, the Dadaists, and the list just goes on and on. Those are only a few. And this realistic versus non-realistic tug of war didn't just happen with writers and actors and the newly upon the scene participant in theater directors, but with the technical theater as well. The speed of that technology continues to escalate, pushing theater design and scenic changes forward, pushing theater's representation of the plight of the working class and the conventions of the society, marriage and family, pushes that forward, pushes it to the fore. And inexorably, those technological advances are also moving us toward our first worldwide conflict. So enjoy the chapter. If you have any questions about what you're doing or what you read, please email me. I will be happy to help you get set straight. Okay? Thanks.